Hi guys, this is me, Black Butter Raven. Oh god, my camera. Oh. Today we are going to be doing another deck profile. I just posted my deleter deck profile, and for like the couple of views it already has a good response, so that's good. But that's the deck I've proxied, and I've just been kind of dicking around with. Now I'm going to show you guys the deck I've actually been playing. Now, a lot of people are probably going to be like, why are you playing this deck? This deck is terrible. More or less because I never had any problem with this card. I always thought this card was pretty good. Well, I'll explain that when I get to it. I'm going to be deck profiling Grand Blue today, and I'm just going to say this was the first Grand Blue deck I've ever built in my entire life, so if I'm bad, shut up. So, this is my starter. I can't remember his name, but he's the starter from BT17. He's like Geras, or I just call him Geras. But what he does, he is Forerunner, and if my Vanguard is in Legion, I can send him to the Soul and call out a Grand Blue unit from my drop zone. It is very good. Next, I play 4 heal triggers, 4 draw triggers, and 8 critical triggers. Can I just say, this is the most adorable trigger I've seen, like, ever. It is so cute. So, now we're gonna move on into the grade 1s. I'm playing 4 copies of Gus Jin. Why am I playing Gus Jin and not the Quintet Wall? I think the Quintet Wall is bad in this deck, because Grand Blue, I use this card for, like, the same reason the reason I don't play Quintet Walls in Genesis anymore. I use this, I don't like it because you deck out too fast. Even though this deck does not tend to use up a lot of Counterblast, I still feel like it's not the best. It fills up your drop zone, but if you just get 5 triggers, you have nothing to abuse. So I like the Gus Jins because they're more precise, and it's just 2 cards. So, enough of that. Let's move on into the next one. Oh, this guy's name slipped my mind. I just had a brain fart there, but to explain what this card does, if he's superior called from the drop zone, he gains plus 3,000. So he's a 10k attacker or a 10k booster when he's called from the drop zone. Next, I think it is Deep Sea Banshee, if I'm correct. What this card does is if it's superior called from the drop zone, you Soul Blast 1, draw a card. This is like my main card for gaining card advantage in this deck. Then 2 copies of the 10k Legion Attacker. I play this card because a lot of times I end up just guarding with it early game if like they attack one of my important rear guards, and I'll just bring it back later. That's what I love about Grand Blue. So now we're going to move on into the grade 2s. Next is 3 copies of Ruin Shade. Ruin Shade's effect is when it attacks, mill 2, and it gains plus 2. Yeah, it's plus 2. So basically the basic mill engine. I would be playing 4, but I only have 3, so 3. Next is 4 copies of my Undead Dragon. I'd take out one of the Undead Dragons and move it up to 4 Rune Shades. But I don't have 4th Rune Shades, so what are you gonna do? What this card does is, when it's superior called from the drop zone, it gains this ability. If it's in the rear guard and it hits your opponent's Vanguard, you can kill one of your opponent's rear guards. I find it good. It allows you to apply pressure with one of my grade 3s. Next is 4 copies of... What is this chick's name? Jesus, I'm doing terrible at names today. Never mind that. The important part is, if this card is in the drop zone and you perform Legion, this card can be superior called from the drop zone at the cost of a Counterblast 1. Now let us move into the grade 3s. 4 copies of Lord of the Seven Seas Night Mist. Now, a lot of you are probably going to say, why the fuck aren't I playing the other Legion? Because that's what my friend said. Why the fuck aren't you playing the other Legion? Because one of my friends is a major dick box, but it's not important. What this card does is, if I Break Ride, a Grand Blue on this unit, I superior call 2 Grand Blues from the drop zone. My Vanguard gains 10,000, and the 2 units I called gain 5,000, but they die at the end phase. So a lot of times I call 2 Banshees, they're 11k boosters, they give me 2 free cards, and then they die at the end phase. Next turn I do it again, I have more cards in my hand, I have decent boosters, and the cards that would attack for 16k columns attack for 20k columns. So I feel like this card is really good in this deck. Next is 4 copies of Young Noble Pirate, Pinot Noir. I think that's how you say this guy's name. If I'm wrong, I am sorry. Now, this guy is a Legion, but what I don't understand is why this card gets so much hate. A lot of people say this card is terrible. I don't think he's bad. I actually think he's pretty freaking good. To explain what he does, this card's effect is Legion. Mill the top 3 cards of your deck and superior call 1. Okay. Then you can sack one of your rear guards to give this unit 5k. Okay. I feel like this card is pretty damn good. Being able to attack for 35 consistently is a very, very big threat. A lot of decks can hit 30, but that extra 5 can sometimes mean a lot, because this deck does tend to apply a lot of pressure in combination with the Break Ride. So, not only being able to, and if you have the 10k booster behind it, you can swing for 45, easy. Plus, you have 2 units that have potential 11k to 14k in rear guards. Plus, with boosters, you can attack for 20k columns. This deck relies on being aggressive and gaining big hands. So, let's talk about what's good and what's bad about this deck. What's good about this deck? It's extremely consistent. When you get the main part of your engine going, you gain a lot of card advantage really quickly, and you tend to keep a lot of it, because this deck does have ways to gain back a lot of cards. So that's what's good about this deck. It's extremely consistent, and it has a lot of chances to be very, very aggressive. Now what's bad about this deck? There aren't very many things I find too terrible about this deck. The only bad part is when this son of a bitch doesn't decide to show up. The Break Ride is a key part of this deck. The Break Ride makes this deck a lot more consistent, allows me to apply a lot more pressure. So the main problem is you end up losing some sense of consistency if you don't draw this guy. So everyone, this has been my deck profile, and I will see you all in my next deck profile.